did you start talking to your investors? Because everybody thinks that you finish demo day and the guy handed you a check for half a million euros. But what was the process to raise €500,000? When did you really start talking to them?
Yes.
And how do you ended up having the extra 2 or 3 investors?
We started the conversations before the Startup Wise guys. Same time when we were looking for accelerators, we already had the conversations with the local Fly Cup, Imprimatur, and Latban, and so on. The good thing was that specifically with Imprimatur, we had a pre-seed loan. So they already had experience with us. They lent us money, we built something, and we continued. So that was positive. So before we began reaching out and making aware of us.
Did they give you any milestones that you need to meet to give you money?
Yes, Imprimatur specifically and other guys in Latban, they said, well, if you go through Accelerator, that would actually be good. Mm-hmm. That would give them a confidence that we know what to do with the money. We don't waste the money. That was a hypothesis, which I believed back then, and it's true. If we wouldn't went into Startup Wise guys, we would have made mistakes. That's true.
How have you changed since Wise Guys? Are you a different Sandy? Are you a different CEO since you went to Wise Guys?
Well, the structure, the discipline, reinforced by this man.
Yeah.
At that time, I hated him.
Yes.
Because. But it's like you take drugs, or healthy. I mean medicine, drugs, like.
Sure.
And or healthy food. Sometimes it's not mainly tasty. Good food or good medicine is disgusting.
But it gets you better.
Yes.
So what are your, because right now you are between Riga and the US, what do you do right now? How do you spend your time? What are your priorities as the CEO of the company?
The priorities are sales, building customer base face to face in US, because that's the market, what has the most money and willingness to spend the money on us, on the product, and building the relationships with Microsoft, with Blipar, with Stanford, UW, one specific. So, and the third main job is to manage the company, so regular meetups with the team, monthly reports, communication with investors, and troubleshooting. Yes, troubleshooting.
Because most of your team is still Riga, right?
Yes, it makes very difficult because I am often in US. I spent last 3 months in US. Now I will be 3 months here on the ground. But the structure we have in place and discipline makes it possible, as well as my co-founders. So Uldis, he's managing on ground together with Rainis. But yeah, they do well.
Mm-hmm. What are your challenges as a European guy selling in the US?
Challenges is that I'm from Europe. In our case, we have made possible scheme that we are under umbrella of American university, under University of Washington Medical School. So when I go to California, I tell I'm from UW, and they listen. They ask me a couple questions, checklist with the names, which I know, and so then they engage with me.
And you actually also work quite effectively with some board advisors. How do you brought in some of the advisor guys from the US that you're using? How do you met them? How do you convince them to join your company? Do you have to pay them? Do you get the shares? Do you just invite them for fancy dinners in New York? How do you actually, especially how do you get them excited being part of your company?
Yeah, so the key advisor from US, his name is Gregory Paley. I met him during the conference in Seattle, VRAR conference, and he's paid by US government as well as City Bellevue and Redmond. That's a combination. And he had a workshop. I joined the workshop, same as here, pitching, marketing plan, just very condensed. But in that case, he noticed I'm foreigner. He asked, "What country?" I said, "Latvia." And his godfather was a Latvian, a Jew, escaped war. And this reinforced our conversation, and therefore he dove into my project. And since October, during the Startup Wise guys, he was the one also helped. And now he's the one who keeps on helping and preparing us for seed round or Series A round, depends on the traction by Paul.
Without disclosing how much you pay him or how much shares you give him is not, but what kind
US
of deal? US based.
Yeah, US government pays.
Okay.
Actually, what I can tell anybody of you can get him, because I met the French guy, they're establishing a subsidiary in US, in Bellevue. They don't have a company yet, but already US government pays him or his colleagues to give advice. So anybody of you can get it, as long as you actually go there and kind of like meet in person.
What will you ask wise guys to change if you would have to do the accelerator again?
I would suggest to add the psychologist. It helps. I took it myself every Monday. I had a psychologist. It kind of helped me a little bit to calm down and a little bit structure things.
Okay.
The only thing I would recommend to add.
Okay, interesting.
Not psychiatrist, but psychologist.
How do you find the mentors? Because we keep talking about people meeting mentors. How was your experience with mentors overall? How useful they were for your business? How many of them made you think about your hypothesis? How many of them was useful to provide introductions? Because you have a very specific business,
yes,
much more US based than other businesses. So my people say they were not useful at all for you. How do you find the mentors?
It was very useful because some part of it's like US focus, but many mentors were just like a basic business processes or business structure or just mentality of marketing or just finance. And all the mentors what you brought in, that was a gold. Like, all the equity you have for the mentors we got, it's a good deal.
Okay.
Many mentors and very, very helpful.
We keep getting better, so that's good. How do you see your company in 5 years? What do you dream? What is your dream? 5
years, we have exit, we've sold. I'd like to dream big, so a couple billion, but being realistic, maybe $500 million to Microsoft or Google. Let's see who.
So what would you do once you get $500,000? So $500 million, probably you get still 10-20% of that by then. So what do you do with so much money? What do you dream to do after that?
Oh, I'd like to be a mentor. I'd like to join Startup Wise guys and be part of. I also invest. I'd like to be investor and mentor.
If you have to give one advice to people that is 6 months before where you are right now, what would you say to them?
You mean 6 months? That means like December?
Well, if you were actually in September last year.
Okay.
So all these people is actually even in August last year.
Yes.
What would be your advice to them? Not even related to what guys, but overall, looking at the stage of the company.
My stage, September, accelerator, to basically just the same mentality and approach I had, which we did, basically take apart everything, clean up all the pieces and put together. This is what I wanted in September, this is what I did, this is what happened. So we were able to put together pieces and they kind of matched, and so machine worked.
Enough from me. Yeah, go.
I would like to ask you, like on the ground, how the Startup Wise guys accelerated your growth? Like, tell me an example. Tell me a situation.
Accelerated in a way that basically, one example is a lean canvas. It's kind of simple example, but very important. So they accelerated me and my team through just putting face into the lean canvas and reanalyzing the values and putting right things right place, and then and then basically validating that let's move on. So that's an acceleration, big time. Also, introductions with investors, and well, again dissecting all the term sheet and all the process. That's an acceleration, big time. And in our case, the demo day, an investor asked the question publicly. I did answer. The same investor came next day to my office, and so we had a meeting, and so he came on board. So accelerated big time. All these even little steps, which seems obvious, was possible only in accelerator. StartUp guys in New York, and it doesn't matter.
Let me share something with you, a bit personal between me and Sandy. So I told him week 3 or 4 that I didn't believe in him. I told him that he was not the right CEO for the company, and that we had to change something here. So I think he was fairly humble on receiving the feedback. He asked me, well, so what would you like to change? So we put a plan together about I thought he should be managing his company, and he was a special case because he had the largest amount of resources on site. So he was managing quite a bit of people, almost 7-8 people, which most startups have 2 or 3. And I think he did a big effort on the personal side as a leader to change and to demonstrate something. So he took the shit because I am not very nice. I'm very blunt sometimes, but he was able to look at himself at the mirror and actually take action, not just say, fuck you, I will continue my own way. Right? So I think he looked at himself, said, okay, yes, there's things to improve. Of course, Cristobal doesn't own the truth, but this was an opportunity for him to change, and I think he took it and did it. So I think that speaks very well about his capability as a leader. So we're going to ask something.
Yeah. Well, maybe you already answered the previous question, but at the start you said that it really helped to develop discipline and structure. Could you be more specific about how you became more disciplined and what exactly changed in the structure?
So in my case, it did not happen right away. Although Cristobal in person draw me the structure and explain me the basics and even the fine detail. But it somehow kicked me during the time later, because obviously I was not able to manage the team. And so it actually came to me later, his suggestions as well, other mentor suggestions, right after actually the accelerator, when actually we got the money, and it was like, okay, let's execute. And I understood, well, it won't be possible to execute the same way I did before, and I have to put the structure in place, which was some of the suggestions as well as other mentors. So it actually kicked in when I was faced to execution.
So by structure you mean who's responsible for what? Or
Exactly, yes. Structure, like who is responsible for what, who is reporting to whom, what are the milestones, what are the KPIs. Without, it's not possible. Now, by the way, we are 30 and plus, and it's actually working. We are restructuring a little bit because preparing for doubling.
You're spending a lot of time outside the rigor, so you need the structure even more important.
Exactly, and also when as a CEO you travel, and you will travel for sales, for a fundraising, you need to have a structure in place so you can actually manage from a distance and have the reports come in.
No, I think money raising specifically is a full-time job, and it usually relies on the CEO, which means that in that time, 80-90% of your time you're just talking to investors, doing investors, so either the company continues because somebody knows how to do it, or you're actually stopping the growth for the company. And remember, the investors will always take your Excel. Say, by the way, we talked 3 months ago and you said you were going to be here, but now you're not here. Yeah, because I'm spending all the time talking to you and not executing, but that's not the answer they want, right?
Yes.
So you need to keep executing.
Yes, so the structure helps for the team to continue executing, and so and you keep informed because the investor wants to have a snapshot. Last week KPIs met, what's done, so I can easily track.
Good.
How do you, like, as you're traveling, how you manage, you partly answered the question, but how do you manage and like dedicate tasks, this one or another? And next question would be, how do you set the KPIs for each individual based on the managing process?
Yes, so in our case, we have 8 departments with the leader, and then each department with the leader has a team underneath, so they report to the manager. In our case, we have 5 managers and 30 people in total. So then the 5 managers are reporting to me. So I can manage 5 people. And so we set the milestones every week, Fridays. We have a meeting, what happened the week and what's next. And so the weekly communication helps to manage 5 people, and they manage the rest of people.
So you basically have like weekly meetings, but do you have like quarterly meetings? Do you set up yearly goals or vision plans? How you're executing towards your 5-year vision?
Yes. So right now we have basically a yearly plan and vision. Right now I'm working with the managers for a couple-year vision. So we have till the January 2018 the plan.
Yeah, I just 2 pieces of advice there. It's good to have a vision, but at the end of the day, you don't need a plan for you only need a plan for as long as your cash is there.
Yes.
Most of you don't have cash for more than 18 months max. So I think you need to understand is how long your cash is going to last, how are you going to use it, and where are you going to achieve with that cash. In most of the cases, you have an investor in which you have promised milestones. And your next investor has to come 6 to 9 months before you lose the money. So you have to work towards that. Right? So I think always work backwards. So what you need to get, and how do you start tracking that you're every month you're in that direction. So you also have indicators if there is problems to maybe start firing people. Start minimizing marketing budget because you're going slower than planned. Because cash is your salvation. It's the only thing that keeps you alive at some point.
Yes. I'd like to add that in our case, very helpful are investors. So we have monthly investor advisor meetings. But that's the deadline when I'm not the bad guy, but the investor can actually, so then it helps to motivate and focus for the team, because monthly investors coming and checking on the milestones. I can reinforce weekly, but then I say, hey, the big boy is coming.
Yeah, I think we have this discussion sometimes. Like some people look at reporting as something they have to do, and to me, you have to use the opportunity about how will you communicate this to your employees. So this is the way to talk to anybody, investors, employees, about what have we achieved last month, what are you going to achieve next month, because sometimes you go so fast that you don't take any time and some become too tactical on just looking at next Monday, right? So we have to always say, hey, this month we achieved this one, next month we achieved that one, and by the way, remember, mid-year, we need to be there, right? And always re-emphasize that with investors, with employees, with partners, with clients, whoever you're working with, right? So don't take it as something you have to do, take it as an opportunity to synthesize communication of achievements. I think it's quite useful.
And maybe a question on that, like how do you prioritize? Like, okay, you have a monthly things, like you have 3 things to do, but you have resources to do 1. Like, any advice on that?
One thing.
Yeah, like how to figure out. Like,
well, there is, I think you have to be very careful, because when you start only prioritizing for one thing, you start thinking about what the investors want to listen to, right? And to me, it's what the customers need to make the next sale.
Yes.
Because that's at the end of the day, much more. If you at the end of the day, we're talking to a break even, right? So if you can actually sell, you will survive. You can actually focus on that when you have one thing. But I think you should always have 3 priorities. Particularly, you still might prioritize them. You have 3 team players, right? So each one of you should have one priority. That at the end, the 3 of them build into what you need to achieve that month. Right? So to me, it's almost about make your own priority and make sure your 3 priorities are aligned for this month. But if you have to prioritize, think about the customer. What will be the one thing I will build for the customer this month? I think that's what you have to build the business for your customers, not for your investors.
Yes.
Maybe a question about the sales process. So I assume that when you went to the United States and like started selling, then like probably your customers were sort of big companies, hospitals or whatever, that kind of clients. Yeah, universities.
Yeah.
So basically big establishments, you know, something like that. How did you go through, like, and again, as I assume that in the very beginning when you started selling to them, you didn't have a perfect solution, perfect product. How did you make these sales without having the product, and how did you make these sales before you actually had the product, maybe?
Yes, the answer is simple. Just go there. Yeah, that's what we did. Stanford, University of Stanford.
Yeah.
The biggest name. So we, two of us, we went to the school. We found the door, knocked the door, met the person, did a pitch, showed what we have. He gave a contact to the right person. We set the meeting, came again to the dean of anatomy teaching department, and so actually we made a partnership. And before that, we were preparing long, like 3 months, like shooting emails, like how many, like 150 like emails to 50 schools, and ratio 14% did not didn't pick up. We just simply went.
Yeah, I think you did. You have to. I don't know how you guys don't know sufficiently, but their product is not finished.
Yes.
It's not even product.
No, I know.
It's 30% finished even
Yes.
today.
Yes.
But I think they were very good to understand. Okay, what is the minimum product
Yes.
that we can sell as a pilot, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And once you have that one, start selling as a pilot, but also selling. By the way, I want to sell you in 1 year the entire product.
Yes.
But right now I can give you the pilot, so at least you taste it. You get credibility.
Yes.
Because once you get the first university, you go to the university. So by the way, you know, University of is using this. They don't ask you if it's using the pilot or what. They just said they're using it, right?
Yes.
So I think it's always, describe the minimum thing that will have value for your customer. And as soon as you have something that you can sell around that area, go and sell it. And get feedback, by the way, because the worst thing you get is, I don't like it. And you say, why? This and this, okay? But you don't find a customer, but you find actually feedback that you can bring to the next category. So staying in the cave, making the perfect product, never makes the perfect product.
And he's right. Yeah, we had something not finished, and I showed that something, which made them want to continue conversation and actually put the pilot in place. 2-3 months from now, which then I kind of count that the product will be more complete. You're right.
Sometimes.
Pretty much most of the time.
In this stage. Okay. So, any more questions, guys? What time is it?
It's exactly. Yay! Perfect timing.
Yeah, perfect time. Good? Anyway, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Actually, it will be funny because you will see Sandy's looking much younger than he is today. Even if he was only 11 months ago. Yeah. Sorry, Sandy. But it's much better if you ask questions, right? Because self-marketing gets very boring, especially when you do it almost every second day. But one thing I always emphasize when I start the presentations is that we are not creating a company to make money. Okay? We are not running an accelerator for ROI. Of course, we have to give money back to our investors. But at the end of the day, what I want is to help founders become entrepreneurs and build great tech companies. Because even if you don't give the ROI, you will actually do something good for the ecosystem. You will create employment. You will, if not, at the worst case, become a better entrepreneur. Because statistically, you will all fail. Okay? I always tell people, statistically, you're dead. Because only 1 out of 100 companies makes real money. Okay? The rest survive or die directly. If they survive, 4 years later, they give up because they don't make enough money. So at least the next time, you're going to make a better company. Okay? So I need to invest in 100 companies to get the right one. So we have 30 more to go. The second thing we see is actually that the founders will actually give back. Right? We are creating a platform in which people which helped it 5 years ago now is mentoring, now is investing. right? And I think specifically in this region, we want to create this mentality that you need to give back. So people is mentoring you for free. We are not paying most of our mentors. Maximum that we go out for drinks, okay? So they're expecting that you will do the same for them, for their friends, for their network. So we are creating a platform actually that will invest into the next generation of successful founders, right? So we are the leading B2B focus accelerator. Nobody usually complains when we say this, so usually it means that we are. We were actually created in 2012. We have completed by now actually 8 programs because this we finished last Friday. So we have invested in 70 companies until now. So we have actually one of the second largest portfolio in Europe of startups and one of the top 10 in the world. As you know, we're starting. We return money to investors. So our portfolio is valued at 3.5, and this is valued by the last round of valuation. Okay, so we said, so Sandy's round, for example, is not here, right? So hopefully he's valued way more money because he did a convertible. So until he actually converts, his value is the same. So in fact, usually we have a much bigger value. We have one company that exit, that's Vitor Fields. These guys actually joined us in 2012, which also gives you the idea that if you're in this game, this is a long-term game. Okay? You're not exiting tomorrow. You're not exiting in the next 2 years. You're likely exiting in the next 7 years if you're alive. Okay? So, hey, you exit in 2 years, fantastic, we throw a big party, but you need to be on this for the long term. You don't build great companies in 2 days. Okay? And it's a fucking hard route to make it happen. Okay? So, this guy, he pivoted 3 times, he fired everybody, he rehired everybody, he's been about to be bankrupt 2 months twice, So the guy, and he's still smiling. He actually invested on the last batch himself. So, but this is real, okay? So you are going to look very bad in 5 years from now. We have 200 billion, but you will at least have some money. That's good. The second thing is that we're international. And this is something that it makes us extremely different, at least in the region. And we are not international as the US, so we have an international MBA with 20% international students, right? This is what they call in the US international. In fact, I don't think you will meet almost more than 2 companies from the same country in our accelerator. So in the past batch, we have Armenia, Romania, Ukraine, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, and one more that I'm missing right now, Denmark, Switzerland. So this is, in a way, I call it an MBA for startups. Because in the worst case, you're going to get a huge network. In the best case, you have a better startup, right? And this is also plugged into our mentors, into our things. But this is something extremely distinctive in what we do. Well, Latvia is 30 years, so I'm very curious about it. Actually, the last batch, the only country with 2 representatives was actually Latvia. And the last 2 batches, actually, because both in Tallinn and Riga. Yeah, now it's 70 startups, it's 100 plastic, but again, it's 32 countries. And it's 35 now because Armenia, which is here, is not, actually Armenia is there. It's not actually put there on the map, but we will do it. So what do we offer? One actually interesting fact, by the way, we are going to give you 30K, but you're just going to pay us 10K back. But the reason is because that means you qualify for the startup law, which means actually you can get a flat fee on your payments from that point on if you invest in Latvia. So it is a good reason why to give you 30K for 10K back. But basically, and by the way, we give you 4% for the program and 4% for the money, which is different from what you did, which means that actually your valuation is higher. So you have more room to negotiate with investors. But still, don't come for the funding, don't come because of the office space. You need to come because these, I think, 3 things, and hopefully for this one. So I think the mentors are good, but we keep improving. By the way, mentors usually work for free, but it's not free. Because if you're not good enough, you don't come back. So when a mentor comes, everybody's giving feedback. If the feedback is very bad, we tell them, but they don't come back. So just not everybody is a good mentor. Like everybody is not a good teacher, right? This is actually something that we haven't exploited too much, but we're coming, and this year we're going to have the first alumni gathering. So we're going to take the CEOs of all our previous batches to Madrid for 3 days. And we're going to spend 3 days together. First, because a lot of them, they don't know each other. You know your batch, but you don't know the people who was before you. Secondly, because that has a lot of connections. Thirdly, because somebody might exit, somebody might have go bankrupt, somebody has raised money in the US. So there's a lot of power and knowledge between them, and they want to talk to each other. And we want to create a platform in which you can at least take 3 days a year to think about your business and learn things. Yeah, we hopefully teach you how to sell. Believe me, you don't know. Selling is an art, okay? It's not I hustle and I get it. Because the first thing you need to know, everybody says, what do you, especially this is fantastic with the Ukrainian guys, what do you want for the accelerator? Contacts. Okay, so what are you going to do with the contacts? So what are you selling? Okay, so what is different in your product? So how is your customer really? So we talked today about the customer, right? You need to be extremely precise in everything you do, or if not, you're going to waste every single interaction you're going to do, right? And as I always know, to sell, you need to understand who is buying, where are they buying, why are they buying. People keep trying to sell things. What you need to understand is where are they buying, and then you can start selling something, right? But anyway, we focus a lot actually on sales, right? And fundraising. I think we're also getting better because also there starts being more funds in the region that are dedicated to early stage. Before you could only talk to business angels, and there was not too many of them. Secondly, a lot of the business angels right now are syndicating across the region. We have actually even the chairman of Nordic Bank, the business angel network, is an investor on ours. So we are actually connecting a lot of the Nordic investors, which actually usually have more money. So we are getting better and better. But you want to raise money, have 10,000 euros monthly recurring revenue in the 3 months after the accelerator, and you will raise money. It's a very simple thing. This is how you raise money. And hopefully we help you. So anyway, so this is we have more than 20% of our portfolio already valued more than 2 million. So I give you 2 million valuation on this. You know why? So it's not bad. I think the company that has raised the most money is actually Monolith, who has raised 1.4 million. Pace has already raised 1 million, so we're getting more and more companies that are passing the $500,000 raise money. Of course, this is not Techstars, but you don't need the money that Techstars live because you live here. So you need to know what to do with $500,000. And if I give you 1 million to most of you, you don't know what to do with it. So it's not good to give it to you too early. But there is company, I will show you later. A couple of things we do right now is that we're actually getting companies to raise money faster than before. And I think this is several things. As Mike Reiner used to say, if you take shit, you can make it look like chocolate, but it still tastes like shit, right? So at the beginning, we didn't have a huge brand. So sometimes we took companies that were not good enough. Right? So you can try to accelerate them, but you don't. Now the selection is much more difficult, so getting in is much more difficult. The stage in which you're taking the companies is a bit more advanced, so that creates a better starting point. Secondly, I think the program is stronger, and we are learning constantly. So the guys are raising more and more money and faster. But some companies like Rebel Rome was about to take 1 million euros 3 weeks ago, and they decided not to because they are actually making 60,000 euros a month. So we don't need the 1 million. We can maybe raise it later. And they decided for 6 months to focus on keep growing the business. So, and the same happens with these guys. These guys are making Publish Drive. It's actually Kinga. She's actually one of the 30 under 30 CEOs, female CEOs in Europe last year by Forbes. They have actually created a 30K USD gross MMR. They're break even. They have never raised a single euro apart from us. Right? And now they're going to probably raise 1 or 2 million. But it's very good to raise money when you don't need it. It's the best time to raise money. Because if you don't get it, you keep growing. Of course, if they get it, they have big plans. But don't think that being successful is raising money. Raising money is just a medium to become successful if you need it. But a press release that you raise is good for your mom. You saw the picture. The only picture I care is about you are break-even, you're making X amount of money, you have 100 employees, and hopefully you are exiting 5 to 7 years from now. But if you don't exit and you still have the other 3, you're actually a good entrepreneur because you have created a lot of things, right? A lot of partners, blah, blah, blah. You can go into this. There is actually a lot of value. I don't think we exploit enough the value of the partners we have, but you can run a company on the infrastructure side for very little money for almost a year if you take advantage of our partnerships. I will talk about some of these things a bit later. And the pictures, yes. So we have a lot of mentors. I think I asked you guys, especially today, mentors are only as good as you are. Okay? We can give you the best mentors in the world, but if you're not prepared, if you haven't done the homework, if you don't know what are your challenges, if you haven't looked at the LinkedIn profile from the guy, you're wasting 15 minutes of this guy's time. Right? So we have a lot of companies that say, oh, the mentors didn't know about my business. Of course they don't know about your fucking business. Because the guy is busy and he already dedicated 1 day to come to you. So it's your job to tell him in 90 seconds what's your business. It's your job to tell him in 10 seconds what are your challenges. And by the way, say, by the way, I know you work in this company. Maybe you have a good introduction to this company. Maybe you have actually know somebody here. By the way, I know you work in marketing. This is my marketing challenge, how to build a brand online. Can you tell me about it? Or do you know somebody? So you need to be prepared for the mentors. So you tell us you need 3 people, we'll put them in front of you. But you need to know why and how you use them, right? And hopefully, whoever will be, we're not doing a great job on this one. We can do better to set expectations. We have a good team. Oh man, now we have a much better picture because everybody now is in red. The version number 5 is much better. I promise to show you when you finish the pitches. But basically, a couple of things to say here. We are not a bunch of consultants. So a lot of the big accelerators, they have the 2 big guys pictures. They show up in demo day, and in the opening day, they say like this. And that's the last time you said. Then they have a bunch of young consultants, which are very energetic, but they don't know what is to run a business, right? So I have failed 2 times. I have raised more than 3 million. I know what I'm talking about. I have fired 20 people. I have filed bankruptcy. So I know all the shit, right? Hopefully I also know some good stories. Wallace also is getting old enough. He looks good, but he's close to his 50s. So he's actually going to be managing actually this batch. Doug has been a CFO in a couple of startups, exit in the last one of them. Gita has been running the last 2 batches. Sane, communication. And Maris is actually here helping for the last 7 batches doing contracts. So she knows we're actually working with lawyers, with investors. So we have a team that is really experienced on what it's doing. It's not just passing by. So, last batch, somebody complained that we're not working hard enough and we're starting at 9 o'clock in the morning. Not your batch, but the next batch, okay? So I decided to start at 8:30 in the morning from that point on. So if you guys want to work harder, we always have room for improvement. So let us know. By the way, we did that after doing a tequila night, which we finished at 4 in the morning, and then we have a pitch practice at 8:30 in the morning. So if you want a hard life, we can give it all to you. But the key point here is that you need to keep delivering your business while we are mentoring you. So and you say, how do you prioritize? Well, actually in an accelerator, we teach you all about prioritization because you have so much going on, and still meeting me on Monday said, what are your fucking sales going? Oh, I was in mentoring sessions. I don't give a shit. Oh, hey, your CTO, hey, it's the 3rd time you tell me that the release is not released because there is problem testing. How are you managing that? And one question I asked them, how do you know your CTO is doing what you want? Because you don't know about coding. So is he bullshitting you or not? So, because again, you need to learn how to manage this, right? But there is a lot of, usually we give you Mondays are a lot of coordination, a lot of time spent with us on how is the business going. We usually dedicate 2 full days to mentoring. So in different office hours, speed mentoring classes. Thursday, there is different valuation, and Friday is usually lately work. So you can work. We do 2 things on Fridays. One thing we didn't do in batch 7, but we did in batch 8, which is we call it peer-to-peer mentoring. So actually we put you guys in a room in groups of 3 to 4 teams, and you talk, what are my problems also. So we're trying to exploit actually the network of your own colleagues there, which once we actually get them going, they give you a lot of value. Also, every Friday, we put post-its about what did you like this week, what do you like this week? So because next week we can actually change the program. So if something is not working, if the feedback is bad about something, we can try to change. So we are not perfect, we are always learning, and every team is different. So we also have to keep adapting to make you improve as much. Sometimes we tell you also that's bullshit, and we don't listen to you, right? But we try to at least analyze. And you know, I can send you this, there is a lot of work, right? And this is week 4 actually. So you can see speed mentoring, about 9 mentors coming, couple of office hours. So when we bring guys with a specific expertise, usually they give about an hour and a half workshop, and then they have office hours with you about that particular topic for half an hour. So you get, and just sometimes they actually dig themselves onto what is this challenge, how are you doing, how are you dealing with that. Some of them are doing differently, right? We actually didn't do it bad sense, see, we keep improving. We did 2 CEOs and CTOs dinners. So we actually, twice during the program, you go all the CTOs together and we bring the CTO from the outside. So you have kind of a thematic dinner. Also the CEOs, you talk about, hey, how do you manage people? How do you manage priorities? How are you dealing with this? How are you dealing with that? So, and we talked to a couple of CEOs who joined you. Yeah.
It's not an agenda, but there are also tequila nights.
Yeah, there is 2 tequila nights. Yeah, if you're in my program, you need to drink tequila, sorry, there is not. And you need to be able to work the next day, that's part of the tequila night. We see this was a tequila night. So you see, on week 6, we prepared. We did a fuck-up night, so Herty, she's my co-founder, and myself talk about basically some of our failures. And then I cook for 35 people, and then we drink until 3:30 in the morning. Our last Armenian CEO left after finishing the Armenian vodka that was poison. But he fell asleep after pitching the next day, but he pitched actually. So you see, there was pitch training the next day. Yeah, and everybody says, Sandy says that we are fantastic, the best thing ever. Anyway, you can ask them without me telling you because it's much easier. How do we select the companies? And some of you actually ask it. So there is 2 ways, but this is the long way. But I explain it, so you guys have applied. At least 3 of you have applied here. First thing, the 2 days after we finish the process, we review it ourselves. 2 people in the team reads all the applications. So Wallace and Nikita actually read all the applications. Everybody else will read about 1/3 of the applications. So at the end of the day, everybody's ranked at least by 4 people. So we put a threshold, which usually we kill half of the teams right away. So if that actually, you pass the threshold, so I was actually very curious about because you guys applied. So you pass the threshold, the first threshold last time. Then actually we give this to 10 mentor investors. So there's 3 external people who also rank you. So you still pass the threshold, then we actually do Skype interviews. So unless we have met you in person, then we have at least 2 people interviewing you. Because there is one rule, which is somebody doesn't like you, you are not in. So everybody needs to basically at least pass the threshold. The maximum we can do is being neutral. So that's why we always have 2 or 3 people, because sometimes, I didn't like it, but you have another opinion. You say, wow, these guys were ranked 3.5, why you didn't like them? And we have actually different opinions. And if you actually make it, we will tell you by 21st of July, I think, it's almost a month before. On the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd of August, we invite you to Riga. So we invite the 25 best teams, and you basically, we spend 1 day talking, training with us, also getting to know everybody. At the end of the day, yes, we are watching, but have fun, because at the end of the day, we try to also look at the human component. And one of the key things is like, we need to understand how good as a human group the 11 teams are going to be. So there always have to be the roles, right? There is the quiet guys, there is the charming guys, there is the friendly guys. And we are always observing how we can select the best group, because it's not just an investment. If these 11 people click together well, the value is huge. If you have 2 assholes in the group, you are fucked, right? We usually have a 1 asshole group. So sometimes say like, it's so good, the product. The guy's an asshole, but only 1, because we cannot manage more than 1. The rest can pollute the team. Then you actually pitch the next day. So you actually spend the morning on the second day with a 25 team speech. And of course, if you pitch well, you have more points. If you pitch bad, you still can recover, but it makes an impression. But the key idea is not about saying he's a bad performer, because all of you are bad for the time being, but it's more about they understand the business. So when they meet you afterwards for one-to-one, investor day or mentor days, etc., they're not asking you, so what do you do? Well, if they're asking you that, is that you pitch really bad. But you say, okay, you said this about your business, so explain me how you get clients, explain me what is your technical platform, etc. They're ranking you, product, market, team. So actually on Wednesday morning, end of the day, we go into a room and we have all of you guys rank. And then we select. Usually the best 5 teams are very easy, the worst 5 teams are very easy, and then we have a discussion about the rest of the teams. And then we invite basically, within 3 days, you guys know if you're in or out, and you get 24 hours to answer. Because some of you are applying to other accelerators. So we also have to put some pressure. You see, they look much younger. I'm telling you. Anyway, it's actually fun. And you actually, it's the only time of the year that you wear actually shorts and t-shirts in Riga. So it makes very nice pictures. Yeah, we'll be visiting cities is updated. We already went to 4 more cities. Yeah, blah, blah. Great, fantastic. Yeah. So this is fun. So, questions. There's 2 things first, actually. The CTO needs to know how to pitch first, because in fact, in the last program, the CEO of one of the companies got sick the day before the demo day. So who was on a stage? The CTO. And if the first time you're on a stage, you will suck big time. So I think we always have the rule that 2 people in the team needs to know how to pitch. Sometimes the CTO, sometimes the sales guy, because there's always occasions that you're not there. It's occasions that the investor saw up so that the CEO is not there. So we always have to have 2 people. Second part is actually, apart from pitching, we have actually the last program, we have a technical week. So we actually brought in 7 guys from the US, from the UK to Spain, and spent 1 week with the CTOs specifically about architecture, scalability. So you talk to Oscar yourself. So Oscar actually drives that team. And actually Oscar is already in due diligence when we do the final. So in fact, he's checking on the technical side of all the teams. And we are going to try to have a coder in residence. So a technical deployment actually guy, the whole program there. So the technical guys have actually that one. Also, San is doing a survey with the CTOs that were present in the last program the whole time, because some teams don't bring the CTO. We recommend to do it if possible. And she's actually asking them, what will you do differently? How will you can leverage that you're here? But I think the key thing is being part of the business discussion, because I hate this idea that the CTO is coding in the corner in Kiev and the CEO is here deciding what to do, right? First, because you don't know what he's doing in Kiev. You think you know, but you don't. Secondly, the CTO needs to understand the business, because he's making constantly priorities on how he's coding, how is the customer experience. So if he's not part of the business discussion, there is a disconnect. And when the team is 2, okay, when the team is 30, if the CTO is doing something completely different, you are about to break the company or not to scale the company. So.
Hello everyone, my name is Mohammed. I'm the CEO and co-founder of dzīvē. dzīvē is an app available for iOS and Android, as well as the web, that allows you to ship anything across Riga in just under 40 minutes. It's available as C2C model as well as B2C model. What we have started now is the B2C model, where our focus on internet shops. Once you purchase online goods, you can choose dzīvē as an option for delivery, and you can get your goods within 1 hour if it's available in stock in this internet shop. The service is a fixed pricing of €5 across Riga. Right now, these are the screens for C2C model. It's as simple as ordering your Taxify or Uber. You have to go through just 2 steps, choosing your location and package size, and hit order. B2C model is based on a web, where businesses can manually or automatically dispatch their orders through the web and drivers on the ground. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Can you explain as your B2B model?
Can I explain, I'm sorry?
Your B2B model.
B2C model.
Yeah.
B2C model, yes. So once you are going to any internet shop, for example, typically today, before our service was born, is that once you purchase any goods on the internet, it takes at least 1 business day to 3 business days to arrive to your doorstep. So for example, if you're purchasing a smartphone or laptop, it takes you 1 to 3 business days. It happened to my CTO. He ordered a laptop and he received it only after a week. They kept emailing him day after day saying that we will ship for you your item tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. It took him 1 week to receive his item. With our service, we allow businesses to label items that could be shipped instantly from their warehouses or from their shops or office or whatever, and allow the buyer an option to pay fixed amount of €5 to receive it within 1 hour, I would say.
So not all will be available from the internet shop, only labeled goods.
It depends, of course, on the internet shop if they do have the merchandise where they are selling it, because some internet shops, for example, are reordering it from somewhere else until it arrives to them and then they ship it to you. So it's based on the business, what we're dealing with.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Sigvart. I'm from Casprint, and we're creating 3D printed medical cast solution for clinics. So I would like to assume that we are all familiar with this picture when you broke your hand, some part of your limb, and so on. So we all know that it's quite inconvenient, it's quite messy, and it's as well as very unhealthy, as we have found during our extensive research. So what we propose is, by the way, actually, it's more than 100 years old, this technology. So let's look back a little bit. For example, that we're talking nowadays about AI, about VR, about going to Mars, yet we still use 100 years old technology like that in medicine. So we believe it's now to change it, and to change it actually to something like this. However, it's about 3D printing, and the challenge is that 3D printers are not as fast as they should be in the future. So what we have proposed actually, and what we are already today validating with our customers in clinics, is providing a solution integrated in their workflow process. And we are already having first successful patients, our first success stories. We are growing steadily. And yeah, if you have any, let's say, problem or trauma or so on, there's already a place here in Riga where you can actually get those. So thank you very much. I'm Sigmund. That's it. Questions?
What's the business model?
Our business model, what we are actually validating at the moment, is that naturally through clinics, our customer is the clinic, right? However, eventually for the cast, the patient will pay itself or the insurer. So naturally, it's basically our customer is B2B for the clinics. However, we need to definitely take into consideration all the needs of the end user, which is the patient. So yeah, to answer your question, B2B.
You also provide scanning.
Yeah. So the thing about the process is a little bit that we're not the only ones, and actually there are lots of similar companies to ours. However, what we differentiate from others is that we are trying to take the whole process and incorporate it in the clinic actually working there. So from scanning to the production, design, and so on, to actual delivery to the patient.
Is any chance that it doesn't improve the recovery as much as the old cast? So what kind of testing, or are even the doctors or the clinics requesting to you to improve?
Well, at the moment, what we are validating is the theory that if the patient, for example, this is a common, let's say, issue between physiotherapists and traumatologists. The traumatologist usually says to you and to the, let's say, to the patient to keep it as much as possible, for example, 4 weeks. However, the physiotherapist says after 2 weeks you need to take it off and to a little bit start to train it, because otherwise your muscle mass will go away and so on. So this is one of the things that if you start after the second week to actually do some of these exercises, providing a cast that is actually easily to remove, then your treatment time will actually decrease by up to 20%. Now the percentages at the moment, there are already some research on this done, however not on 3D printed casts. And this is one of, let's say, the most, at the moment, biggest challenges what we are actually looking at. How we can actually validate that the long-term effect of these casts.
Hi, my name is Martins and this is The Monetizer. We enable gaming companies to create their own merchandise products and sell them directly in their games. Merchandising is hard, it takes a long time to start, and it's very expensive to start. That's why only 5% of all gaming companies use it. We created the monetizer for the other 95% of the companies, so they can use it as well. So the monetizer enables you to create merch shops inside your games and sell physical products like t-shirts, phone cases, mugs, and many other products to your loyal gamers. The way it works is that you add a simple plugin to your game, the monetizer plugin. You choose where in the gameplay to show the products, and then you simply sell your own products to your own loyal fans. And we take care of the rest. The monetizer is the full service merchandising solution, taking care of the ordering, of the manufacturing and shipping, everything. The value that the monetizer provides is that we make gamers happy. We turn their digital experiences, these digital moments of success inside the game, into physical products that they love. And for the gaming companies, we make $5 profit from every single sale. Our business model is very simple. We do a profit share, 50-50, between us and the gaming companies. And we already have 65 registered customers, and this number is growing every month. Why merchandising? Because we know that it works. It does work in the sports industry, it works in the movie industry, and we are making it work in the gaming industry as well, with the target market being $13 billion, which is pretty huge. How are we going to get there? With our amazing team. We have done successful startups before, and we know the merchandising industry inside out. And with the monetizer, we are combining our expertise in merchandising, IT, marketing, and sales, and we're helping gaming companies to create better games. So thank you. I can't wait to hear your feedback, and if you know any gaming companies, please let me know. Thanks. Have any questions? Now is the time.
So you provide the prints on phones, on t-shirts,
yes,
mugs.
So we have, we're working with print manufacturers all around the world, and yeah, so we will support everything, starting from t-shirts, mugs, like you said, even to leggings, printed hats, and all kinds of products.
What do you have now? What physical product?
We already have these 40 different products. Like the first focus products that we are starting with every developer is t-shirts, phone cases, and mugs as the first set of 3, and then depending on the game characteristics, on the game users, on the region where most of their users are coming from, we assign different products to that would fit their user base better.
What is your biggest challenge to grow right now?
Right now is to smooth the onboarding process. That's the biggest challenge right now, to kind of figure out how to effectively communicate with the gaming company, most effectively, how to get the designs faster, how to get them approved faster, and this is the biggest challenge right now.
Automate your customer service by talking with real people. Spend more time on your website. So, as you can see, U2U is a chat. There's this one day a couple of months ago I had this dream, and I woke up from it and I told my wife, and she was not a morning person, and I said, I remember years ago whenever there was no internet and I dialed into a system and I wanted to do something. If somebody else had another phone line, I was able to chat with them, and I remember this user experience. And then I thought about how much we've progressed since then, and all the websites today, I wonder why don't they have that built into it? Sure, there's this customer service chat, but it's just one person, and it's usually this salesperson, that's put in there to help you and to try and upsell you something. But what about if you could move these community forums where you really like the website, other people like the website, move it into a live chat directly on your website? I think this is the idea, to let your visitors communicate with each other in real time, makes them more engaged with your website, and they don't go to another site, they don't go to another forum to find out the answers, and they'll get the most out of your tool without leaving. That means more conversions, more sales if you're in e-commerce. And then the power users, the people who really are dedicated and passionate about your site, will become your ambassadors, and they'll help out the new users. You can also insert your customer service. So the idea is that this is going to replace the customer service in the long run. So it's much more friendly if you just have a customer service badge in there and somebody can talk to them directly, or they can get real feedback from other users like them. And as a customer, as a website owner, you'll get some keyword stats. You get to really see the user behavior. Our first testers are going to be launched next month, and this will be at university during the registration season. You know, you have a lot of questions. Where do I find out this course? Who's taking this course? And e-commerce, so that you can see if they can get answers and choose the right solution for them. And a software as a solution, something like a data viz application where people are trying to figure out how to use certain charts. And then you can imagine government services, and almost every website with a lot of traffic could use this. So we're a universal app where you could just, the website owner can insert the embeddable code and it will work right away. And we've got a team in Riga who are the developers and the design team. They're super inspirational people, and they've made amazing things for over a decade. I'm Canadian. I'm going back to Canada to build the sales and marketing team. And so we forecast that in 6 months we should have about 100 users, and at the same amount of growth in 1 year, about 700 users, which really means a return on investment and a huge growth because the market is huge for this type of thing. So overall, we want to reinvent the customer support experience through your community. Thanks. Questions?
That a business like me as a page owner, I would have some kind of insights?
Yeah, so you get these keyword stats. So there'll be a way to actually analyze the keywords and then the related keywords that come with those keywords, and you get to see what the behavior is. And so if there's a big problem that happens with your website, it goes down, you'll be the first to know because you'll see
get
these
some
words.
warning if something bad happens on the chat and people start to shout over.
Well, you'll have your customer service in there from the dashboard, and so you'll be alerted. And I suppose along the way, yeah, we could have these alert words.
Web pages, mobile applications.
This is, it works on mobile, slightly different. I mean, you can't just click on these the same way, but everything works the same on mobile. It just would become a whole window. If it's something like an iPhone, like if it's a mobile phone, then this will actually kind of go over the whole screen, so you can actually read everything and then go back after. It's very similar to what the customer service chats are like now. Is that the right answer, or there's something?
I understand it.
Understand?
Yeah.
I have a question here. What if I have live chat on the website already, and could I plug in this feature to my live chat, or should I replace my existing solution?
Our idea is to reinvent the customer service experience, because you can still add your customer service. So why would you have two? But in theory, yeah, you could have both if you just customize it so that your trigger is somewhere else on the site. But I don't think, well, that's definitely not our early adopters. Those are not the ones we're going to target.
Do you see more potential in those people who are pissed off about something, or more in those who are happy about something?
I'd say 50% might be just for conversations you don't necessarily want to see, and 50% might be some conversations that are very constructive. And you'll see that the people who really know something and are really passionate, you'll see that they'll help the younger or the newer users. But I think it's inevitable, it's unstoppable, because we have Facebook Live, we have YouTube Live, we have this Periscope, we have everything. You have to let people talk to each other this way. And if you don't give them the freedom of speech now, somebody else is going to be able to make this as a universal chat on websites. And we're trying to build it as robust and scalable as possible and beautiful as possible.
Is there a competition? Is there anybody else?
Sure. Yeah, there is. So any of these support chats are competition in a way, but they're kind of limited in that they're one channel. There is a chat API called Sandbird that makes an API, but you have to actually buy the API, make it for your website alone. There is one in France that's very localized. It does a very similar thing, taking the forums to your website, but it's really just like ask a question and then the answers get posted like Reddit in this little chat window. They've only sold to some 10 or 15 directly. So we want to be a universal. You just go to the website, click buy, you get the embed code, start chatting.
And then once you have it on, you can lift it
Up and down.
and also once it's on, you can pull it back and forth. And the way you click is like this. So you'll see this point right in front of you. If you do like this, it will click where the point is looking at. And click and drag is like this. So you'll see a skull, an image of a skull, Do you see the skull to your left? To your right?
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, then you lift your finger like this. And,
Okay.
A 90-degree angle.
Yeah, like this.
I'm hearing them, but I'm not seeing it right now. Yes, I move it down or what?
So it was over there.
Okay.
Oh yeah, to exit, it's actually like this.
Okay.
So in our sales process, the HoloLens is the key
Yeah, of
differentiator.
course. It's,
And
so how much programming have you done to readjust the current platform to this? You're having to reprogram everything in .NET, or is actually a specific?
It's identical to game development.
Okay.
Like the application is made through Unity, and the programming happens through a programming language called C#. So if you have a game developer who knows Unity, they can easily transition into HoloLens development.
so look through. There's a menu backdrop, so you can activate the expand button. Very nice, so you can actually explode the skull again, a 90-degree angle, and then click on expand.
Now?
Or once you hear the click sound, it means you've clicked on the button.
That's not how it's doing like that.
You're the test subject as well.
I'm not a very good tester, clearly.
And suggest you do like this, and then just kind of like good.
So I'm hearing the click, but it's not opening the expand. That's very good. It's fairly immersive. It's actually interesting how the sound is also getting you quite immersed in the experience.
So yeah, this fall the Microsoft is coming in with a mixed reality device, which will be with a wider view angle. So now it's like this, but it will be full. Yes.